Howdy, y'all. D&D 5e has gotten a facelift. Pirate Borg is out, and a new RPG is coming out every other week, which means the end of the world is nigh. All shall be fire and ash, brimstones raining from the heavens, the rise of the beast, cats and dogs sleeping together. It's the end of time.
Well, let's calm down, Mr. Ex-Minister. I think we can channel all this towards something a bit more positive. Now, this new RPG means
New players.
very good, and new players means
They need guidance.
indeed. So, to those who are new, welcome, and to those who aren't, well, welcome back. Sit back while we walk you through our process for creating adventures the easy way. And to clarify today, we're going to be covering the technicalities of, say, gameplay elements and stuff in a future date.
And the good news is it works for pretty much any game system, too. You'll have to decide on combat or non-combat on your own. Think of this as a general how to plan 1 or 2 session adventures.
First, we pick an inspiration. It could be a comic, a movie, a book, a TV series episode. Really, it can be any piece of media. Then, you choose another one that's similar. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing, but similar genre, similar tone, elements, that kind of thing.
For us, we'll use D&D as the archetypical system, and I'll choose Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Crap, nothing happened. We just had Halloween, so it seems to fit. And for my second movie, I'll choose The Addams Family.
All right, let's have some kick-ass choices here. Well, let's break out some of the thematic elements that we might want in that kind of game. So, we have a focus on relationships, spooky horror, comedy elements, and really just big break from normality, right? This is a big fish out of water kind of feeling, at least for both of those movies. What's your third choice? That one will really make things kind of spicy. Let's see where you're going with this.
Okay, you ready for this? Buckle up, because I'm thinking of Alice in Wonderland.
Well, there's a definite theme of spiriting away here. The bright colors and absurdist fantasy of Wonderland could actually be pretty fun if you had to pick 4 or 5 things from those movies you want players to experience. What would they be?
Let's see. Well, lumping the party together with an undead NPC that wants to trick them into saying his name would be fun. A zany dance scene could serve as a means of travel between 2 areas. We got to have a big mansion with that dark Victorian aesthetic of the Addams Family, and maybe they could even have a family gathering like in the movie with Uncle Fester. Or, what if we put the tea party scene in there? That could be fun. So, what's next, Mr. Smarty Pants? We've got all this stuff, but no adventure.
Exactly. Well, we can decide on the key conflict, right? The villain or conflict really could be anything we want, but I think we should go with the Jabberwocky here. You chose the Alice in Wonderland as one of your main inspirations, so let's rope a little bit more zany Wonderland into this.
Yeah, we could have our not Beetlejuice stand in promise that he can defeat the not Jabberwocky if they release him. Of course, he won't do it unless he's forced to, but nothing stops him from lying about it.
Excellent. We could start the party in the big Addams Family style mansion. They could maybe be guests at the party even. We can make it zany and weird, really turn up the weirdness dial as the session goes on. This not Jabberwocky stand-in can come to wreck the party.
All right, so we have to start with the villain. But it can't just be one big scene of the game and then that's it. That's no fun. So let's have our Beetlejuice stand in, spirit the party away to a demi-plane of safety. Maybe they can explore a disjointed undead world, talk to a dead librarian, or a hookah smoking behir, or something to learn how to defeat the dragon Jabberwocky thingy. What if we stole from another movie, A Quiet Place, and have the jabber thingy be attracted to and attack sound?
Ooh, okay, okay. Well, let's map this out with a flow chart, shall we? We're starting to put our ideas together, and that's really step one. You start with the influences, you figure out what your influences are, you pull some ideas, and then step two, you begin to map them out. My advice is use a flow chart. This will help make sure that we're giving the party choices. As it stands, we start in a mansion party, give the party the chance to explore for a little bit, maybe pick up some items.
And you never know what they could find in a big mansion like that. Maybe some strange potions, poisons, weapons, crazy devices, and maybe the party can even play a game or two. Throw axes, have a dance off, bob for poisoned apples, or something like that. We could do that in the Alice in Wonderland style tea party scene too. Ooh, in the house they can encounter a living suit of armor or multiple depending on the size of the group.
Party should meet our not Beetlejuice NPC there really before the not Jabberwocky attacks. But next on this list is they get spirited away by said NPC. This might be a hard part, right? We'll have to make it clear that they cannot defeat the not Jabberwocky in their current state. Maybe show a party goer try and get eaten. Someone like our, maybe not Gomez Adams, for example.
Ooh, you could even make it to where the Beetlejuice cannot communicate with the party in the house. Maybe the magic of the dragon thing is so strong it mutes the NPCs, so he teleports them to his dimension of the undead to talk to them. And once in the undead area, maybe the game can open up again. Let the party explore and have an NPC or two explain the not Jabberwocky. But what then?
Well, the party needs to make it back to the real world, face the not Jabberwocky, and really be just big damn heroes.
That's where the not Beetlejuice can come in. The party can make a deal to escape or find some other way. Who knows? He may want to marry a PC like in the movie. Maybe he has some kind of crazy portal or something hidden in his trailer. Ooh, we could have the party break into a small crypt, fight off some undead, and use an artifact to return to their own world.
Good, good. Now we're giving them options, branching paths, right? And as we map this out, hopefully you can see that it's not just one linear progress, one linear train of thought that leads from point A to point Z, right? And however they return home, the party might return to, say, the burned out mansion to scavenge some gear before the final battle. Then they might need to find the not Jabberwocky, at least with maybe a brief travel section. And either way, the not Beetlejuice will be with the party, either to save them because he wants to marry said PC, or to make a deal with them and save them as part of that deal. He's still hoping out on that freedom, after all.
And once they beat the big bad, the adventure is done. But this doesn't really make an adventure, does it?
Well, we still need to stat out the encounters, figure out specific items, create some NPCs, finalize our thoughts. But today we're really covering the hardest part, and this is the hardest part of the work done, just coming up with the idea.
The outline of the adventure can often be the hardest part, and the rest of your list is kind of system dependent, so we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Had one of my players plan his first session using this method, and it worked out quite well. It helped him form some concrete ideas with a central theme. Everything in the planning stage revolves around that kind of core main idea. I recommend that you write out a thesis statement of sorts for your game.
Of course, our example could be an investigative game that leans toward NPC interactions and exploration with very little combat.
Or on the flip side, we can make the world of our not Beetlejuice a hostile, undead filled realm of zombicide. In case you want something a little different. But seriously, for those of us who are neurodivergent, this seems to be a pretty successful system. It also means that you don't have to worry about the crunchy game elements right away, you can just kind of come back to that later when you have more spoons.
What about using dice to advance the plot? I mean, dice are there to add tension and suspense, but dice can also be used for other things like timekeeping. And what if the thief fails the lockpick roll? Does that mean that the door just doesn't open, or does it mean that it took longer and was maybe louder to do? This would ratchet up the tension because instead of a 1 in 6 chance of encountering something, it becomes a 2 in 6 or even a 3 in 6. What say you?
Well, I would remind everyone that you should not tie progress in adventure behind a dice roll, whatever it is, right? Don't tie it behind really player interaction either. If they have to look somewhere specific or say something specific or do something specific, chances are the party will miss it. So if you're relying on that kind of thing, make sure you give them 2 or 3 options to get that information, at least, right? Morkborg uses a 1 in X timer to trigger each step of the apocalypse. Each time the party rests, the DM rolls a die of their choice, everything from a D2 to a D100, and if they roll a 1, the apocalypse advances by a stage. I recommend stealing this for your games. But instead of taking it on an apocalyptic event, let's go ahead and have the roll trigger simply be the villain advances the plot, or something advances to the next stage. That way, not even the DM knows when the villain's, say, 12-step plan to conquer the world will take any kind of effect. And just remember, though, to make the victory for the villain or whatever you're keying this to a multi step process, unless you're prepared for a very, very short game. Now we'll talk more about dice and their role when we cover how to go from planning the game to actually running one. But once again, we'll save that for a later video.
Until then, if you decide to stat out the adventure, let us know in the comments. How do you handle the planning stage? You can use this to plan dungeons, wilderness, urban, or social adventures.
Stories need a good plot, and that can often be the hardest part. We hope this helps. Until next time, take it easy.